Hey everyone, how are you? In this video, I'm going to guide you how to create an AI agent which can help us while booking a ticket from a source to a destination. So this is going to be a ticket booking AI agent created purely using Python and Google GenAI. Basically, we are going to use the Gemini LLM model and we are not going to use any external framework. We are going to understand everything from scratch, that how can you think about creating an agent, what are the things which an agent can do, and how to create an agent without any framework, no framework required. For now, let us see a demonstration of what will be done if I just run the code. So let me run the code, and our file or our code is within the file agent no framework.py. Let me run this and let us see what's the output we are getting. So our goal is to book a ticket from Delhi to Mumbai, and now it will perform the steps. First, it will find out what are the steps which is required to book the tickets and how to execute those steps. Now everything is happening through AI, through the Gemini LLM model. We are not doing anything. As of now, whatever data you are about to see or which you are watching as of now is simulated data, is not a real data. But this is going to give us a good idea of how the things will happen when we actually have some real data. As of now, we do not have any booking system, we do not have any passenger, or we do not have any payment source, right? We are not doing anything, but we are just saying, hey, I want to book a ticket from Delhi to Mumbai, do it. So it is simulating the process, but everything is happening through an AI, and it is like an AI agent which can book a ticket from Delhi to Mumbai. So it is first of all finding out what are the different tasks we need to perform. So the first task is to gather the travel details. Of course, we need the travel details like the date, the preferred timing, and who are the passengers. Now the action for this task is it prompted the user for the desired travel date. As of now, we are not taking any input while running the code or while running the agent. So if the agent tries to prompt us that, hey, enter the details, we are not going to fill it. So the agent will automatically simulate the process of filling the details. So it is going to prompt the user for the desired travel date, preferred timing of the date, and the number of passengers for the Delhi to Mumbai trip. Now the summary is it has successfully obtained the necessary details, traveling details from the user to proceed with the flight search, and the data it has got is this one. Now right now this is a simulated data. We are not even entering the data. Everything is simulated. So the date is 26th of October 2024. Preferred timing is around evening time, and there are one number of passengers. Now based on the previous task, it has automatically identified what's the next task to do. We have coded our program in such a way that it will first find out what are the different tasks. Based on the first task, when it is performed, it is going to execute or perform the next task. So the task is pre-hand created or calculated. The next task is to search for available flight from Delhi to Mumbai. Now that we know that what's the date, what's the preferred timing, and who are the passenger, let's search for the available flight from Delhi to Mumbai. So it is going to use the previously gathered details and then successfully found several flight options matching the criteria. And it found the flights as Indigo, and the flight number is 6C234. Then we have a departure time, we have a arrival time, and we have a price. It has got some other flights as well as an option, like airline is the Air India, flight number is AI 805, the departure time, the arrival time, and the price, and another is Vistara. So once you have the flight details, it is going to present like the next task is to present flight options and allow the user to select one. So the action for this is going to be to display the found flight options, Indigo, Air India, Vistara, to the user with their respective details and ask the user to choose their preferred flight. Of course, the user have to choose their flight. Now we do not have a user. So again, the process is going to be simulated. The user reviewed the presented flight option and successfully selected one for booking. And the user selected this particular flight. The selected one is Indigo. Now we have to collect the passenger details and contact information. So we have to request the user to provide their full name, email address, phone number for the booking, as well as any other necessary passenger details, since only one passenger was specified. So it has successfully gathered all the details for the passenger, like the phone number, the email, and the passenger name. Next process is to next task is to process the payment for the selected date or the selected ticket, and it has prompted the user for payment details. The payment for the selected flight has been successfully processed. That was the summary, and we have got the payment information, the transaction ID, the amount paid, and the payment status. And finally, to confirm the booking and provide the e-ticket. So it has used the confirm payment and passenger details to finalize the booking. A booking confirmation and e-ticket were then generated and sent to the email address. And at last, you can see the data is booking status is confirmed, booking reference, PNR, e-ticket sent to the email. Now, this looks like a complete end-to-end ticket booking system. But the thing is, we have not done a lot of things here. We have just created an AI generated task or an AI agent which will do all these tasks. Of course, whenever the user input is required, we have to put it. But for now, I have simulated all the process to keep the thing simple. Now, how can you create something like this? So we have to create our program in the file agent underscore no underscore framework.py. Now, I have already explained you a lot of things about the Gemini AI with Python, and I've explained it, and we have the playlist as well. This is the playlist you can find on my channel as well. the Gemini AI with Python, where I have explained how to use the Gemini AI, the text generation guide using the Gemini AI, building a small chatbot, Google search tool, structured responses, the document understanding process. So this is going to give you a good idea about how the Google Gemini work and how can you create programs using Google Gemini, LLM, and Python. Now, using all these knowledge, let's actually create this code, what you have seen as of now. So first of all, we have to do the import part. So we can say from Google import Gen AI. Let me zoom in a bit so that you can see it properly. So we have imported the Gen AI. Also, we have to import the types. So we can say from Google.Gen AI import types. We also need something called as base model from Pydantic, JSON module, and optional from the typing module. But first of all, let's not go into it. Let's do the things step by step. Now think about it. What we have to do. The first thing we have to do is we have to have a goal, right? When you want an agent to do a particular task, right now we want to create a ticket booking agent. So we should have a goal. Our goal is, let's say our goal is to book a ticket from, let's say, Delhi, or let's say London to New York, right? Let's make it international. All right. So from London to New York, we have to book a ticket, and that's our goal. We want our agent to do it, right? We want our AI agent to perform all these tasks. So first of all, let's give a simple message that what is our goal? And I'm going to use the F string for this. So our goal is going to be whatever goal we have created. We are going to do the things and create the program step by step. So stay with me, and at the end of the day, you will have a really good AI agent created with you without any real data, without any framework. But this is going to give you a very good understanding of how the flow, how the things work step by step. So now we have defined our goal. Then the next thing is we should have our AI agent as well. Like we should create the client which is going to make the request, right? We need to use the Gen AI for this. So let's create our client, and let's create our client before the goal itself. So we can say client is equal to Gen AI dot client. So now we have our Gen AI client created. All these knowledge you can get from the Gemini AI playlist which I have created and shown you. Which model do I want to use? Let me actually use the Gemini 2.5 Flash model for this. And we are actually going to have a chat, have a complete chat session. I don't just want to make a request to the Gemini AI or make a prompt to the Gemini AI, get a response, and the Gemini AI forgets about the previous responses. So I want to create a chat session. So I can say chat is equal to client. I can make use of this client, and I can say client dot chats dot create a session. And the model we are going to use is the model we have defined here. So now we have this chat using which we are going to send our message to the AI, and the AI is going to process the message and do the task and perform the action. Right now, no real action is being performed. Everything is simulated, but this is again, it is going to give you a very good understanding of how it will happen in the real world. So now we have our goals defined, right? We have our goal defined. We have printed our goal. Let's modify our goal. This is a goal, or this is a string which maybe you are about to get from the user itself, right? Now we have to modify this goal to make sure that our prompt which we are sending to the model is something which the model understand from our perspective, not just what the user has said. So let me create a modified goal. We have already printed the goal, so the end user is not going to see the modified goal. The modified goal will now be equal to, I'm going to use the F string with triple quotes so that I can write my string in multiple lines. Now I can say you are a virtual agent expert in booking tickets, right? Here we are telling the model that who you are. You are a virtual agent expert in booking the tickets, and your goal right now is, your goal is whatever is the goal given. So this is our original goal, right? So here we are creating a prompt. Also, let me do one thing. Since we do not have any real data, let me inform the model that for now we do not have any real data. So for now, just acknowledge the goal, and going forward, I will be asking this model to create some plan and execute those plans. So I can simply say, now the thing is, guys, you don't need to follow exactly my prompt. You can play around with this. But for now, let me do what's best for understanding the things. So I can say for now, acknowledge the goal, and going forward, I will be asking you to create a plan and execute the plan, right? You have to create the plan and execute those plans. So execute the plans, right? Let me remove the spaces for you so that you can read the whole text easily. So this is our modified goal, which we are going to send the model. How can I send this message to the model? I can simply use this chat. I can say chat dot send message, and I want to send this message to the model, the modified goal. That's it. Now this is created. This is the simple code which is created. What it is doing as of now, we have a goal. Now we have modified the goal, and we have sent this goal, the modified goal, to our model through the chat. Now our flow is going to be, first of all, we need to create an agent, right? Now this whole code is about the agent. We have to run the agent, and when we run the agent, what should actually happen is first of all, it should plan for the goal, right? It should plan some steps for the goal. So planned steps, that's our next part. And when we have the steps, like for example, if my task is to book a ticket from London to New York, my steps could be to first of all gather the information that when do you want to travel, who wants to travel, right? And then maybe we want to understand what are the flights available on that date, based on which our based on which we have to do the booking. So our task would be search the flights, then it could be select the flight, then it could be book the flight by doing the payment, and then it could be send the email that the payment is done and the booking is confirmed. So all these are like steps, right? So once we have our steps ready, we have to execute those steps, right? So execute steps. That's our next course of action. So let me actually comment this. But from here, what we understand is we have to run our agent, and we have to create that agent, right? But as of now, we are not using any framework. So we are going to use a simple code to run the to actually create the agent and run the agent. So I can say def run underscore agent, right? Now this run agent, what should it do? It should plan the steps first, right? So I can say what are the steps we have is equal to plan our steps for the goal. Or let me just write the name as plan goal. We have to create a function which is going to plan the goal for us. It is not created as of now, but that's the function which is going to give us the steps. Now the next thing is we need the steps as a list. Once we have the list, I can say for step in steps. For every step, we have to execute that step, right? That's our next thing. After we have the plan ready, we have to execute that particular step, right? So I can simply say execute step. So I have to create a function which is going to execute that step, right? And once all the steps are executed, then we can simply say print out of the loop. We can simply say print backslash n, a single line change, then completed steps. All the steps are completed, right? So that's our that's our agent which is ready to run. Now after we have set the initial path for our agent or the modified goal, or we have already told the agent about our goal, we can see run the agent. So I can call the function run agent, right? Now let me put all this code within something called as if name equal to main, this particular condition, which is a standard way of writing a Python file. So I can say if underscore underscore name underscore underscore is equal to underscore underscore main underscore underscore. Let me put all this code within this condition. This is going to ensure that if this is imported in some other file, this particular code is not going to run. It is only going to run when you actually execute this particular file. So now our agent is going to run, right? We have our run agent function also created, but we do not have the plan goal, right? Now let's create that function which is actually going to plan the goal for us. So I can say def plan underscore goal, and this function, this plan goal function, is actually going to plan the goal for us. Now, first of all, I have to create a prompt which I can give to my agent, and it can do the processing and give us back a response of steps. So let's create a plan prompt. I can say plan prompt is equal to, I think the spelling is not perfect. It should be MPT. All right. So the planned prompt can be break the goal into clear numbered steps. This is going to give us like this is a prompt which can help us to give us a response or get back a response, which is going to have some numbered steps. Through this, we can actually fetch it like a list. But let's not just rely on the model response. Let's actually get a structured response from the model. And for this, we are going to use the Pydantic. We can say from Pydantic import base model. And if you do not know how to get the structured response or what exactly is the structured response, I have explained this in this series. The fifth video is about the structured response with Gemini AI and Python. We are going to get the JSON output using Pydantic and the GenAI. All right. So once we have the base model imported from the Pydantic, we can create a structure or a model, and that model is going to be the response for us when this is our prompt. So I can simply say the steps or the plan steps I need should have step name. What's the step we need to perform? So I can say class plan steps. It is going to have a parent class as base model, and it is going to have just one attribute, which is step underscore name, and this is going to be a string. Now I want that when I execute this particular prompt, I want this prompt to give a response which looks like this particular model, plan steps. All the details you can find in the structured response or the structured output video, which I just shown you. You can go and watch that video and understand the internal details of it. First of all, in this video, I'm just going to do the implementation part. So now we have the planned prompt with us. The next thing is we have to make a call to the Gemini AI or the LLM, right? Let's create a separate function for this. We can say def call model. Let's create a function call model. This function is going to make a call to the model, and it is going to accept a prompt, and it is also going to accept a schema. The schema is the response which we are about to get, the type of response we need, right? So it is going to get a prompt and a schema. And first of all, what it is going to do is it is going to send the prompt using the chat. It is going to send the prompt, to the Gemini AI LLM model. So I can say chat dot send underscore message. What's the message we want to send, the prompt which we are getting, and let's also have some configuration based on which we are going to say that, hey model, hey Gemini AI, I want the response in the schema provided. So I can say config, this will be equal to types dot generate content config, and this is going to take some arguments. One of the argument is response underscore schema. This should be equal to the schema provided in the call model function. Whenever somebody is going to call the model, they should also provide the schema, the type of response they need, right? So that's the schema. And the response MIME type, that's also we need to say pass, and we can say the response MIME type should be application slash JSON. So this is going to return us the schema, the details, the data in the form of schema, which will be a JSON. And also let us give a system instruction to modify the way the model is going to work. So I can say the system instruction is answer within 30 words. Now this is to ensure that we do not get a very big response for now and keep this particular program simple. Once we have sent the message, let's actually store the response we are about to get in a variable called as response, and we can say return response.text. Whatever the response the model is going to give, we are going to receive it here, right? So we can make use of this call model function. So after we have our prompt ready in the plan goal, we can simply say call the model, and we need to have a prompt. So the prompt is plan prompt, and we need to have a schema as well. So our schema is going to be plan steps type. Now this is not going to be just a simple plan steps. It is going to be a list of planned steps, right? Because every planned steps, this is like a step. This is like a single step. All right. A single step is going to have a step name. We need a list of steps, right? So I can say plan steps is going to be a list of plan steps. That is, when I'm calling the model to make a prompt give a prompt to the model, the prompt is break the goal into clear and numbered steps. The response I need is a list of planned steps. Once we have got the response, I can simply say, first of all, let me quickly store this in a variable called as plans. And now let me modify the value of plans. We are going to receive the text response.text, which is going to be a, I would say, string. We need to convert this string back to something which is more Pythonic, because the string is a JSON, but we cannot just extract the data from the string as a JSON. So we need to convert it back to something called as dictionary, and we can make use of the JSON module for this. So let's import this. We can say import JSON, and I can say the plans is equal to JSON dot loads. Let's load the plans. So basically the plans will be a string, and here it is going to be converted to a dictionary. Now, once we have our plans ready, let's return the plans as a list. So I can say steps. Let's actually create a variable called as steps, and let's run a loop in the plan. So for plan in plans, if the plan step name, right? Because every plan is going to have a step name, right? So I can say if the plan step name, if we are when we are extracting the step name in that particular plan, not strip, when we are stripping the value, we just need to ensure that this particular value which we are getting as a plan is not empty. So when we strip the value, it should not be empty, and if it is not empty, just store this in the steps list. So here we are using the list comprehension way of storing the data from the plans into another list called as steps, but we are also ensuring that we are just storing the actual step name and not the plan, because the plan is actually a class. It is going to have some attributes. We just need the step name. So I have created the steps, and now I can return back the steps. As of now, we are going good. This is done. We have got the steps. We do not know how to execute it as of now, but let's do one thing. Let's just comment this execute step method for now, and let us just print what are the steps we have got. So print steps, or better, I can just print the step in the for loop only. So print each step, right? And let us see what is the output we are getting as of now. So let me open the console. Let me run the code, and let's wait for the response. So here we have run the code. Let's wait for the response. So now our goal is printed. Book a ticket from London to New York. And now let's see what is the response we are getting. So the response we are getting is we have to gather the travel details, the dates and preferences. Then we have to search for available flights from London to New York. We have to compare the flight options also and select the best one and provide the passenger information, process the payment for the ticket and confirm the booking and receive the e-ticket. So what's happening as of now is, first of all, this particular code is going to run. It is going to create a client. Then this is our model. This client is going to make a request to the Gemini AI. Now we have created a chat session using that particular client and the model. And this is our goal. A simple print message which is printing our goal, and then we are modifying our goal, and we are telling that, hey, you are a virtual agent who is actually expert in booking the tickets. So based on this, the model is going to give the response. Now we have sent this message to the model, and we have said, hey agent, let's run the agent, right? So now the next thing is, it will run the agent, and first of all, it is going to plan for the particular goal. And remember, we have already given the goal to our model because we are having a chat session. So the model or the chat is going to store all the previous messages as well. So we have already sent our goal to the model. So the model knows about our goal. Now let's plan the goal. To plan the goal, it has created a prompt to break the goal into clear numbered steps. And then what are the plans? The plans will be, we are actually calling the model with the plan prompt. The prompt is to break the goal into clear and numbered steps. And the response we need is a list of planned steps. Then we are converting our plan to actual dictionary. And then we are fetching the step name from each of the plan and returning it as a list. And that's the list we are printing here. Here is the list. All right, so we have the steps ready. And just one more thing, when we are calling a model, basically it is having our prompt. It is sending that prompt to the model and some configuration is done to answer within 30 words. And this is the schema. That's the kind of response you should give. And then we are returning the text. Now plan goal is ready. Call model is also ready. We just need to have another function which is actually going to execute those steps, right? Now let's create this function which is going to execute this step. Now when we say execute step, first of all, we have to create a function. So let's create a function after the plan goal. So we can say def execute underscore step. And what is the step? The step we are going to get as an input in the function execute step. So now this execute step will be called for each of the step. What do you want to do for each of the step? That's the thing which you need to understand. So we have to say action underscore prompt. Earlier we have created a plan prompt. Now let us create an action prompt. We can say action prompt. This will be equal to, let's create a f string and I can say execute this task. And what is our task? The task is given as a step. So that's the step we need to execute as a task. And what are the things we need back? Now that we have told our model to execute this particular step, let's also tell the model that it has to describe what it has done. So we can say describe what you did and summarize the result as well. Summarize the result. Apart from this, since we are just simulating the process, we are not actually doing the ticket booking. So the model may ask us back that, hey, just input the passenger name or input the booking date when you want to travel. So all these data we don't want to input as of now. Let's keep it simple and tell the model to simulate the steps if required. So as of now, we are telling the model our action prompt is going to be to execute the task and describe what you have done and summarize the result and also simulate the task if required. We have to define a response schema for the execution as well. What are the things you need as a response or as a details when you are executing a particular task? So let's create that schema. Let's call that schema as execute task. And this is also going to have the parent class as base model. And we can say we will have a task name, which is going to be a string. And we are going to have the action which is performed for this particular task. This is also going to be a string. And we are going to have a summary of result, that what has happened after the action is performed. And this is also going to be a string. And we are going to have the simulated data. If it does the simulation of a process, let's say it autofills the passenger details, passenger email, the travel date, the booking amount and all everything, or it autofills or auto select the best flight for us, then we can say that's the simulated data we have got. And this is also going to be a string, but let's keep it as optional. So we need to import this optional first. So I can say after the Pydantic import base model, I can say from typing import something called as optional. This is going to make sure that for some of the response, for some of the executed task response, we don't really need the simulated data. Sometimes if there is no user prompt or user input required, then we don't need to simulate anything. So that is going to be an optional string, and by default the value is going to be none. Now we have defined our execute task schema as well. So we can simply say after we have the action prompt created, to actually execute the action, we just need to call the model and we need to tell the model that, hey, the prompt is actually the action prompt and the schema we have is the execute task schema. That's the schema we have created here, right? So we have got our call model thing done. If you see this plan goal as well, we first created our prompt, then called the model, and then we need to convert our response back to something called as JSON or a dictionary, right? So after we have done the execution, let's call it as result, and this is going to be equal to call model. And now I can say the result is actually equal to JSON.loads, convert the result, which is actually a string, back to dictionary so that we can extract some information from it. So we can say JSON.loads result. Now there are different result or there are different details we are about to get: task name, action performed, summary, and simulated data. So we need to print those details, and I have the code created for this. Let me paste that here and let me show you what's happening as of now. We are printing the task, the action performed, and the summary. And also we need to print the simulated data, but we need to print the simulated data if there are a simulated data, if there is actually a simulated data. So we can say if the result has a simulated data, then print it as well, right? Now once you have printed this, let's also do one thing. Every time we execute a task, let's create a separate line change or a empty line in our logs so that the different steps are easily identifiable. So before we start executing a task, I can say print, and let's say this particular line. so that this is going to separate a particular log. So before executing a task, also after executing a task, right? Now, once we have executed the task, it's done, right? So the task execution is done. The goal was already done. We have the call model created. We have the schemas created. All right. And I think we have the run agent as well. Everything is done. Everything is set up. I think we are good. I think I can just run the code, and now the ticket booking system is going to book the ticket. This autonomous AI agent is going to do the ticket booking. Let me run the code, wait for some time, and observe the logs here. Our goal is to book a ticket from London to New York. It is looking very similar to what I have shown in the start of the video. Now, this is our first task. The task is to gather the travel details, and it means we have to find the dates, the passenger information, and the preferences. And then the action performed for this task was to simulate, like it has simulated the gathering of essential travel details. And the summary is simulated the data for travel dates, number of passengers, basic preferences has been granted, and that's the simulated data we have. The departure date, the return date, and the passenger who is one adult, class preferences, economy, and the seat preferences window. The next task is to search for the available flight from London to New York, and it has simulated the searching for flights using previously gathered details, which is from London to New York on October 26th. Return is now November 2, first, like one adult and economy. Several flight options for the specified dates are identified, and preferences have been identified as well. So we have one flight as British Airways, we have another flight as Virgin Atlantic, we have another flight as American Airlines. We have to select the desired flight option, like select the desired flight. Now simulated the process as well, and it has selected the British Airways. It has selected the flight, British Airways, and next step is to provide the passenger information. So I think, okay, so we have got some error as well, which is strange, but that's fine. I think solving the error is going to help us understand more. But let's see the next step, which was actually executed. So to provide the passenger information, it has simulated the process, right? And the final data was like, let's see the summary as well. Essential passenger information has been gathered and prepared for booking, and the data was passenger name John Doe, date of birth, nationality, passport number, and email as well, along with the phone number. And then we have got an error, and the error says that the model is overloaded. All right, so the model is overloaded because I'm using a free API key. So it is overloaded because I'm making a lot of API calls. That's fine. So it is like we don't have an error in our code. The error is actually in the API, which is because I'm using a free API key, right? Maybe I can just run it again, and maybe I can get back the response. And let's wait for the response. We are quickly going to go through the response. All right, so we are getting the error, which is the model is overloaded, but that's completely fine, guys. I think the reason is my API key is not working. The model is overloaded, but you can just run the same code, try to understand the flow. The basic flow actually is to run the agent, which is going to plan the steps and execute the steps. You will get the response very much similar to what we have seen at the start of the video. So I think, guys, that's it for this one. This particular video has explained you everything you need to know when you want to create an AI agent. You should have a goal. You should have an agent which is going to run, and it will perform some steps. What are the steps? Could be planning, could be execution, could be thinking, could be anything, right? It's just about your imagination of what you want to perform or what you want to do. So again, that's it for this one. If you find any errors, or if you find any issues in your code, or if you have any questions, then make sure that you put it in the comment box. And that's it for this video, guys. I want to see you guys in the next video. So make sure that you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. And I will see you guys in the next video. I want to see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching this one.